So we'll let people jump on as they come on, but I want to get started kind of right off the bat. Guys, this is extremely exciting for me to start another round of mastermind groups. This is probably one of the best parts of my job. I absolutely love the brainstorming that happens on these calls, and today is going to be no different. This series, so if you were with me on the last series, it was kind of it was focused on leadership, and I really liked where it was going. I was kind of bummed out that it ended kind of right at the peak. And so what I decided to do was to do this again, kind of a round two, maybe a little bit more in depth, a little bit more conversation, and kind of have a base understanding of what leadership is. And I want to make sure that we talk about the things that are vital and important to you with this mastermind group. Therefore, if this is, and I know some of you may be watching the recording, that's fine, but I want you on the call, because this is what we want to hear, what you have to say. We want to hear your thoughts. We want to hear your voice. We want to get what is working for you, and maybe possibly where it's not working as well for you. Just the other day, Doug Moss pulled me into his office, and he had papers covering his whiteboard, except for one little spot. And he asked me, he said, Kevin, because I work with the 3 to 8 star diamonds, he says, what do you talk about on your calls? What are the top 5 topics you talk about on your call? So I told him my 5 top things, and it was fascinating. He took off the papers that were covering the whiteboard, and he realized that, I realized, he said, because I asked this question to the associates who work with the diamond to 2 star, then he asked me 3 to 8, and from 9 to 15, he said, what's fascinating is you guys all talk about the different things, but all the associates talk about the same thing. All of the managers talk about the same thing, but it's different than the associates. And all of the directors talk about the same thing, but it's different from the managers and associates. And it was the hands down, and he did this with everybody. The main thing that managers talk about is leadership. It's leadership, because you guys at this point, you're realizing that, the diamond to 2 stars, what they talk about so much is establishing consistency, establishing habits. It's a lot of what they need to do to start building their business. But, and they get to the point now where they work with us, the managers, from 3 to 8. The consistency is in their wheelhouse. They don't have to be told to wake up. They don't have to be told to go do invites. You guys understand that stuff. And now you're actually getting a gathering of people. You're having a following where people look to you as a leader and say, help me get to where I need to go. And so the questions and the topics that we talk about a lot of the time is, how can I get people to take action? How can I get them to move? How can I get them to act while still enjoying the process, getting them to become a leader themselves? And then from with people who work with the directors, who knows what they talk about? Who cares what they talk about? They focus much more on duplication and things like that. But I love that we talk about leadership, because this is probably the most growth that will happen throughout your time with Beachbody is right now when you're in these ranks, because you're understanding how to lead people. So therefore, I think it's very appropriate that we have another leadership series, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I believe most of you were on the last mastermind groups. But just a reminder, this is not a mastermind group where you kind of show up and do one of these things and watch somebody talk about whatever they're comfortable talking about. This is going to be, hey, this is where I'm struggling. I need help. Or I came up with this situation I don't know the answer to. Help me out with leadership. I'm going to be giving homework assignments in kind of 2-week increments of, this is what we talked about last time. Before our next time, I want you to try this. I want you to try this with the people that you lead, and you're going to come back with results and talk about, did it work? Did it not work? What's the feedback you got? Because it's time we start trying new things. I do one-on-ones with the majority of you, and we have our own things set in place, and I want to make sure we keep those. But when it comes to group things, let's talk about this. So here's what we're going to do today. This is kind of a short and sweet call, nothing groundbreaking, but I do have, and I have my pad and paper and my pen here. I gave you guys a homework assignment to come prepared for this call, to simply, in a no holds barred atmosphere, let me know what you feel you are good at when it comes to leadership. And then it's okay. It's okay to boast here. This is not a humble moment. If you feel like you're good at something when it comes to leadership, please let us know. And then also, I want to know where you feel you can improve on as a leader. And because this is our first go around, also introduce yourself, kind of let us know your background story, so that we all can get to know each other a little bit better. This group right here, guys, is the group that's going to last all the way up until Summit. I want this to be a very long, extended mastermind group. So we're all going to become friends. So this, make sure you do speak up, that you do participate, and so we'll kind of go with that. So I'll just kind of go around the horn here. Sandra, you popped on first, so you're up. I just want kind of a little bit about you, and then your strengths as a leader, and then areas of improvement as a leader.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I am a mom of 2 boys. One's in high school and one's in middle school. I live in Maryland, and I've been a coach. It'll be 4 years next month. I've hit the rank of 5-star elite, but this year I did not hit elite, and I've dropped from 5-star. And I've just been trying to, kind of get my team back on track and working with the willing. And I do have a great feeling that this is going to be a good year, just with everything that's coming out. Last year was not a great year for me mentally and just with my team. But I don't know. I have a good feeling. A lot of people are interested, and they are, wanting to step it back up. So, I'm feeling very hopeful. So leadership, I've been in these groups before, and leadership is something I really struggle with, just because, I love being a coach, and, that's kind of what I signed up for. And then as you build a team, like Kevin says, you kind of have to take that leadership role, whether you like it or not. And you're dealing with so many different personalities, and it's kind of hard because you're like, I didn't sign up for this. But I think, I really don't know what I shine in with leadership. I have my coaches always tell me that, I'm awesome and I'm always there for them. But sometimes I feel like I'm there too much for them. My upline was not there for me, and I did what I had to do. And I don't know if that, is something I need to kind of like back off a little bit. But what I wrote down for my struggle was, like, I don't know when to keep checking in. This is probably more so with the newer coaches. I feel like I know how to get them started right, all of the things that we do. But I try to set little goals with them. But if they don't attain them, it's nothing that I can really do. They're not going to get in trouble. They're not going to get fired. So it's like, it's almost like I don't know how much to check in with them and how much help to give them. So that's kind of where I struggle, kind of like that 3-month mark where they've wanted this. They want to be a working coach, and I've told them what needs to be done. And they're just either not doing it, or I think they're making it too hard in their head. And so, I can tell them until I'm blue in the face, but that's the frustrating part for me. I don't know how much to continue on them.
Okay. Well, gosh, I'm sure everybody's kind of chomping at the bit here, wanting to chime in, but we're going to save those thoughts for an actual call. I do think, and I think we got a lot of nods with your struggle of that. Getting people to act is extremely difficult, and it is something that can be learned rather than kind of spinning our wheels. And I think in the past, many of us have spun our wheels trying to get people to act, like you said, till we're blue in the face. So I will say, I wrote that down. We'll save it for one of our topics. But thank you for saying that. And by golly, I knew you do this, and guys, you are leaders. You are leaders. You're good at being leaders. You got to give yourself more credit. You are good at things when it comes to leadership. Granted, there's areas of improvement, but dig deep. I want to know what you got here, not by accident. And so I want to hear kind of what those strengths are. Thank you for starting us off. Kate, we'll have you go next.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kate Noble. I've been coaching for about 4 years. I live in New York City, but I grew up in North Dakota, so it's on a farm, so it's I'm a transplant, I guess I should say. But I do love the East Coast. I have a 1-year-old. She just turned 1 in January. And last year was definitely a maintenance year for me, where I was just trying to figure out balance and time management and getting the fire back in me. And it's there, right? And it's been there for quite a few months. And so I finally feel like myself again. For leadership in strengths, I think it's really developing that culture, the friendship culture. And that's, sometimes I ask myself the same question, like, what do I shine in, right? And sometimes it's nice for other people to share that. And so that's something that my team has said to me is that I'm just genuine. So I'll run with that and creating the team culture. I feel like some of that has come most recently because I'm finally connecting with my tribe and the people that I truly connect with. And so that just makes it so much more fun. And so it's more of like a family to us. And we finally have that feeling. What I feel like I struggle with the most, I think it's the confidence that I am a leader. I always question, do I have what it takes? Even though I know from my past, I've been a leader growing up in life, right? And in college, but I always second guess myself. I second guess that I have something to share that's of value, even on these calls. That's something that I struggle with. And I just need to get it together and realize that I do. The other piece is getting people to act, as well as right now some structure for onboarding. I know how to get people excited and going, but I need to get structure. And I talked about that with you, Kevin. Just getting more organized structure to create better duplication for my team. So.
Yep. And I think confidence in being a leader is a huge topic that a lot of people need to want as well. Because whether it happened by accident or not, I'm a leader. And we may not have been taking leadership classes in college or many classes since. And so this is a great opportunity to learn how to expand our leadership. And, it's funny, you mentioned you feel like you're good at developing a great culture, a team culture. That is huge when it comes to leadership. But a lot of times, as Sandra mentioned as well, a lot of people kind of put that as their strength and their weakness in that, I can create a lot of people who feel great about each other, but nobody's acting because it's such a friendly culture. It is kind of a strength and a weakness in itself. And so there is a fine line that we can talk about on how to walk. Man, I'm getting all excited about our calls. We have a lot of stuff to talk about. We've gone through 2 people. This is great. We'll just keep moving down. Rachel, you are up next.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel. I'm from Maryland. I'm originally from New Hampshire. My husband was in the military, so we kind of bounced around up and down the East Coast. But last year, I actually was able to retire him from the military. He decided to go and take a corporate job, which was his choice. But that's a little bit. We have 2 dogs that I'm obsessed with, and we're expecting our first child in June. So a lot of changes, a lot of excitement going on over here. Sorry, I'm looking at my phone because I wrote down my notes. My strengths, I honestly think that a lot of my strengths are helping my coaches kind of map out what they want their life to look like, and using Beachbody as their opportunity to do that, or their outlet to do that. I'm really good at creating leaders on my team. We have, I should know this off the top of my head, but I'm not in my office. I think I have about 5 Star Diamond coaches of my personally sponsored coaches. So I really try to help them see that and develop that business for themselves. And as well as the team culture, our entire team, we're all best friends, and that doesn't always map out as you want it to. There's always a little bit of drama, but we always come back together and really help each other and have each other's backs. And I love that about our team. My weaknesses as a leader is, honestly, I'm a quiet leader. So I don't necessarily share my strengths or my weaknesses with them as much as I know I should be doing, especially when it comes to, things that are working for me. I'm always just so focused on my own business that I forget to share that side with them, especially when I have my failures, and kind of look at the lessons learned from those failures. So I'm really bad at kind of sharing that part. And keeping newer coaches engaged. That's something that Kevin and I had just talked about recently on our call. For 2017, I don't have a single coach that has stuck with the business. And I know 2017 was a little bit of a funky year for everyone, but so that's something I'm really kind of focusing on this year, is looking as to how to get those people that I had found, previous years, and keep them engaged and get them really excited about the business and the opportunity.
Very good. Yes, to all of that. Rachel and I have had some great talks, and she is extremely good at what she does. And when it comes to those weaknesses, being a quiet leader and keeping newer coaches engaged. Yeah, I mean, that's something I think we all deal with. I have some thoughts, but I'm going to save them to the end, kind of as my final thought. But this is, I think we're able to take this and grow and help out each other. So thanks, Rachel, for sharing that. Rose, let's have you go next.
All right. So as usual, I kind of wing everything. But I've been a coach, it'll be 5 years in 7 days. So on Valentine's Day is when I signed up. I'm a lifetime 6-star diamond. I live on the Jersey Shore, and no, I'm not anything like Snooki whatsoever. I have 2 dogs. They're my life. My little puppy ate my pre-workout meal today, so he really pissed me off. So he's in the doghouse today. But to my strength as a leader, I would say definitely team culture. Like most of us, I would say, are from New Jersey, so we like to have team dinners, and we had a team retreat in January, and I just pretty much invited the whole entire downline. If you wanted to come, you can come. There was no type of rank or this or that. They paid their way, so if they want to come, they can come. And we do beach days, so we really just try and create those relationships and those connections, and that's why people stick around. I think I lead by example. So if I'm telling them to do something, I'm there, I'm showing up, I'm, being a proof that this can work if you just show up, right? And then I said showing up myself. My weakness, I think, is sometimes I focus too much on the team. I love being a leader. I love teaching. I love showing. But sometimes I think that leads to hand-holding. Funny thing is, 20 minutes before we hopped on this call, kind of going by what Sandra said, I got this awful text message from this girl. She, sent in her cancellation papers and said, you never helped me, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I'm sorry, but I run with those that want to run. If you don't put in any effort, I'm not going to put in any effort too, wish you well, blah, blah, blah. For a second it stung, but I'm like, geez, I put so much work into this. how dare you say I'm not there? I'm not showing up for your business if you're not going to be showing up for yourself. So that's all I got to say.
Ooh, I feel like it's still fresh on your mind there. Tell us how you really feel. Yikes. But we've all had those situations, and yeah, it does sting. And all these thoughts I'm having here, I want to make sure that we save, because there is that fine line again of helping people reach their goals, and then the hand-holding and running their business for them. And their expectations of what we're supposed to be doing and our expectations for what we think they should be doing. Communication is key. All right, come off hot off that one. Stacy, bring us home.
My name's Stacy Dasher. Oh, can you hear me? Okay. My name's Stacy Dasher. I have been a coach for 3.5 years. This year was a pretty good year for me. I became premier. I'm a 3-star. And okay, so my strengths as a leader, I'll have to chime off of a little bit what Rose said, because I definitely create community. It's definitely a team culture. I find that sometimes people want to be on my team just because of that community, because of those friendships, because of that support. I have people coming with me to Summit that aren't even working coaches, because they just love that camaraderie and that atmosphere that we create as a family. My coaches are all over the country, so I don't get to have those dinners and things like that. But I definitely feel that I've still brought in the connection, even though we're not physically able to be together as much as we'd like. So that's definitely a strong point. I also lead by example 100%. What I tell my coaches to do, I am doing 10 times that. I'm in the trenches with them, and I show them that every month my Success Club number goes back to 0 too. We all start at the same point every month. So if I can do it, you can do it. I think my weakness, I have a couple of them. The first thing that comes to mind is patience. I don't have a lot of patience for, I guess, slow starters. I find that I have my coaches ask me questions that they can easily get the answer to without asking me. It's in the training, it's on YouTube, it's on Google, and sometimes I just shake my head and I just refuse to even answer the question because it's just so ridiculous. So I definitely lack patience. When a coach says, "Oh, I can't make it to the call, I'm sorry, I don't know, I'm spending time, I'm with my mother." It's like, it gets on my nerves. And I know that maybe not everybody makes this a priority, the way I do. And I need to accept that. So I would say I lack patience.
I'm over here laughing. I'm glad I have the mute on because I think we all fall into that category. In fact, the funny thing about patience, every Monday night, our little family gets together. It's called a family night, a little family council, kind of do a little, how's things going, check in. And this week's topic was patience. We're like, yeah, as parents, we have so little patience, and we pray for it every day to have patience, and for some reason we don't have patience. Anyways, I completely understand what you're talking about when it comes to patience, and I think that's something a lot of us are continually working on. If you do have patience, maybe you should leave a call for us.
I feel like I don't have the tolerance for it,
yeah.
And sometimes I feel that my team, and I've actually had to say this straight out, I feel that I can be intimidating. I feel that sometimes they're afraid to approach me or ask me a question or say something to me because I may chop their head off.
Yeah.
And I've said this straight to them. I do not want to be intimidating. Everything I do is from my heart. I want you guys to succeed. I want you to surpass me. Yeah. So please don't fear coming to me. I don't mean to come off like that. I mean, I was born and raised in New York City, so I know that I can be a little bit more abrupt and a little bit harsh and rough around the edges sometimes. But I think that the coaches who really know me and have been with me a while know that my bark's bigger than my bite. Like they can come to me with anything, and I will, be there for them. Yeah. But yeah, I think I need some polishing.
I think we all do. I think and that's exactly why we're here. You know what the funny thing is so many. So in writing a lot of this stuff down, that and I for every person kind of wrote down your strengths and weaknesses, and I'll make sure I mentally note your weaknesses. Is a lot of you sound like you're good with team culture. A lot of you sound like, yeah, I can get people to love each other, to have great calls, to have people check in, and that's great. That's actually not a strong point for a lot of the coaches I work with. So it sounds like you guys do mesh in that area. And, you know, a lot of you sound like you have pretty good systems in place as well. When it comes to here's what you do when you first get in, here's what's next, here's what's next. But the thing that I think we all need to improve on is understanding that we're dealing with people. And people have emotions, and people have feelings, and they, like you said, even though we have the perfect solution for them, the system is so spot on, we're dealing with people. I think I've told this in the past group. I've worked with a coach who, in my opinion, has the best trainings, hands down, I've ever seen, and systems and PDFs and documents and anything you want to learn about Beachbody. She has put together a phenomenal training. She has it in her Google Drive, pages long, scrolls long of everything. And she came to me one time and said, I think I'm going to quit. And the reason why is she says, I cannot get anybody to move. I give them everything they need to be successful, and they just won't do it. And my husband has kind of given me the ultimatum, and that's it. And so a few weeks later, I checked in with her. Didn't work. She couldn't do it. She didn't understand that in dealing with people, you could have the best trainings on earth, but because we're dealing with people, there's leadership skills that have to be learned and implemented, and those are going to matter so much more than any training you can put together. And that's kind of what we want to go off of. A lot of, so this is my second day of Masterminds. I did one yesterday, and the kind of, you guys kind of are similar in the fact that, and I've said this before, I think on both on personal calls and Masterminds, we have got to stop assuming at this rank. Stop assuming people will follow you. If you think by setting the perfect example and working 10 times harder than anybody else that they're going to follow suit, you're assuming you're going to bury yourself. You're going to dig a grave that way. Yeah, go do it. Go 10x it. That's awesome. Go do that. But if you assume that people are just going to follow suit, you're going to be extremely frustrated working at even more when they're not like, oh, that's really cool that you guys can do that. But that doesn't inspire them. We can't assume. And a lot of you, as I said at the beginning, are saying, well, I'm good. I'm in a good spot. I'm really good at getting stuff done. Yeah, we know that. That's why you're at this rank. But you can only take your business to a certain level. And I hope that you haven't capped. But I hope this is simply a plateau where then we can overcome this plateau and keep moving. And it's going to take more than what you can bring to the table. And that's where leadership, once again, is involved. I've mentioned this on the call. I'll mention it again. I feel like this is an appropriate time. A lot of people I work with, and it kind of came out a little bit here today, there's two sides of leadership. The book that I suggested last time, the Frogs Matter Most, I think is what it was called. When it comes to leadership, a lot of us focus on bottom line dollars, getting people to act, momentum, check-ins, which is great. But the book suggests that those people are simply managers. And on the flip side of the coin, there's the people who care about individuals, relationships, the warm fuzzies, all that kind of stuff, which is definitely part of leadership as well. But the book suggests that those people are mentors. And I feel like we're kind of saying, look, I don't handhold I want them to act. And so we're kind of leaning more towards the manager side. Or we're saying, yeah, but I love these people. We may lean more towards the mentor side. I feel like we're saying either or. But the book suggests that a leader is the best of both worlds. You know when to push, you know how to push, and you know when to give a hug when they need a hug. It is not either or. I think there is a phenomenal meshing of the two. The book, once again, is called Frogs Matter Most, is what it is. It's the book, and we can talk about it. In fact, I think one of our one of our calls will deal with the last section of that book, and it really brought it all together. It talked about 15 different things that leaders have, kind of qualities, and then it meshes it together of how to become the perfect leader. We'll bring that up. But, you know, you may be strong in one area, and that's great, but don't let that be your leadership style. Learn the other side of how to become a better leader. If you're really strong at getting people to act, great. Focus on learning how to reach out to people in relationships. If you're awesome at relationships, you need to learn how to get people to act. And it's not, like I said, it's not either or. It's a healthy mesh between the two. I'm really excited about this mastermind series. I'm really excited about this group. I don't profess in any ways to be a master when it comes to leadership. I'm learning just as much as you are, but I want to make sure that we talk about it, and we talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, and areas of struggle. We may not come to the correct answer right off the bat, but I think we can get started with the right answer. I think we can solve the world's problems between now and Summit, but it's going to take some maybe getting uncomfortable, maybe not fully understanding, but trying, being willing to try. And it's going to be fun. Show up to these calls. Come prepared. I'll give out the homework assignment here just a little bit for next time on because I want to make sure that we stay to the topics that you guys talked about. I want to make sure that it has, it's relevant to you and gives you a reason to show up. But it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to learn some great things. And please stay active on our group page. This is not simply a place for me to post, hey, here's the link for the next call. That doesn't do any good. If you guys have questions, put them up there. If you're struggling, put up the struggle up there. If you found something that is just really beneficial that we all can benefit from, put it up there. Let's keep this page active. Let's stay engaged. That's just how we're all going to get better. It's not going to be, hey, impress me, Kevin. It's going to be, hey, let's make this a better place. And there may be times for tough love, and there'll be times where we are having a great time together. But this is where we're going to grow. So this is going to be every 2 weeks. So not next Wednesday, but the Wednesday after that is when we'll meet. And that just reminded me, it has nothing to do with it, but for crying out loud, the Olympics are starting. I hope you guys are doing something fun with the Olympics, with your team. That'd be a lot of fun. I'm a huge Olympics fan. And 80-day, hopefully it's going well. And Team Cup, hopefully it's going well. The energy and engagement always dies off. That's why I tell you guys over and over again, set things in place so that when the energy dies off, that they're already doing the things that you should be doing. And so we'll talk about that a little bit as well. So we're done for today. Thanks so much for jumping on. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Have an awesome weekend. See you guys.